how much should we worry about this? Or is this the old give them some rope and let them do their thing?
I don't think we should worry about this. I mean, listen, I think there's 4 key reasons why you want to own the stock, despite the results you saw in the margin pressures tonight. Number one, you have a healthy $200 billion plus retail business, growing 20% plus, 2 quarters, consecutive quarters of accelerating revenue growth. It's helped by one-day shipping. It's a game changer for Amazon. Yes, it's costly, but I think over time, Amazon, as they become more efficient at utilizing the logistics capacity, you'll get the margin expansion. You also have a advertising business that's growing in excess of 45%. So that's $10 billion annually, growing 45% plus. AWS, I'm speaking to investors this morning concerned about the deceleration. A 2-point deceleration of a business that's levered to a multi-trillion-dollar TAM that's still growing. That TAM is still growing, by the way. So you have a $36 billion annual revenue run rate that's growing 35%. I don't think investors should worry too much about that. And lastly, Amazon clearly is becoming a logistics company now. And that, I think over time, they'll rival what you see from existing logistics businesses out in the market today.
Anthony, of the things that Victor just mentioned, does the AWS deceleration, is that the biggest worry to the degree that there are worries?
I think that it is the biggest worry. Part of that is the fact that, growth is slowing while at the same time margins are declining. They're talking about making more investments in sales and marketing and infrastructure, and simultaneously, you do have Google and Microsoft pounding the chest. I agree with Victor. The TAM is so big here, and in addition to that, it's kind of the law of large numbers, right? I mean, as Victor said, you do have this company now at a $36 billion annual run rate. At some point, you just can't continue to grow at 40-50% a year.
Victor, when you make a comment like that it's going to become a logistics company that rivals the others out there, are you factoring that into your longer-term models for Amazon? And if so, what do you envision? Do you expect that to become its own revenue-generating business in of itself?
Well, the first part, I have not factored that into my estimates. So that's just pure upside over the next probably 5-10 years for Amazon. But I think it could become a multi-billion-dollar business, possibly into hundreds of billions of dollars over time for Amazon. But this is, you're looking at probably 10 years, 15 years, as they slowly but surely build out that capacity around the globe.
Interesting. Anthony, in terms of AWS and the deceleration there, I mean, it's still such a big business. It's still growing strongly. It seems like the key question now is, were the expectations too high? Does Wall Street, do investors need to start thinking about that AWS growth rate at something lower than 40%?
I think that they do, and you speak to a very important point, investor expectations. I think to some extent, investors, we had this several quarters where growth was decelerating, but earnings growth was well above anyone's expectations, and operating margins were expanding, and that kind of became the new normal. But I think that was really kind of the exception, not the rule. This is the rule of Amazon. I think that you see them going back into investment mode in AWS, in free one-day shipping, and that's kind of the Amazon playbook.
Victor, you mentioned logistics, and Morgan followed up, but I was making the point earlier, 5 years ago even, we weren't really talking about AWS.
Right.
The advertising business.
Right.
So you think 5 years from now we will be talking about logistics in the same way we talk about those two, as a significant other business that is contributing significant profitability? Oh
yeah, I think Bezos has talked about this fourth business he's looking for. I think everyone knows it's logistics. I think they'll become, the evidence is already there. You're already seeing Amazon trucks, Amazon, delivery vehicles in your neighborhoods, on highways. There's planes. He's talked about delivery drones. So yes, he's building out the infrastructure, and not just in the U.S., this is across the globe. And I think there's areas where they're already, they talked about on the call last night in the UK, they already have a big competitive advantage in the UK right now. So
why?
Yes. Well, I think the delivery systems are a little bit more inefficient than what they are here in the U.S. And so they're able to really just plug in and take advantage of pockets of inefficiency in the UK.
Anthony, do you see potential future logistics and transportation business the same way as Amazon? One of the questions I keep coming back to, and this is the conversation I've been having with delivery carriers and others in the industry for years, is who's going to actually sign on to that business? So many retailers out there really see Amazon as a frenemy or even a downright enemy.
So, it's interesting. We do have a little bit of a different take on the infrastructure play. We think a lot of them building out their infrastructure is about creating the capacity to do their own final mile delivery. I think certainly they will, offsource some of that excess capacity. We really think that the next white whale for Amazon is actually in healthcare. and we wrote extensively about that recently. We think that that's just a very large market opportunity, incredibly inefficient, and we think there's several opportunities for Amazon, the most obvious one being in pharmacy, but we think there's other opportunities in lifestyle management, probably on the technology side as well.